Hey guys, today we're going to go ahead and we're learning about multiplying mixed numbers. I have a number here, 1 and 2/3. That is an example of a mixed number. It has a whole number and a fraction. If I were to look at this in form of pizzas, I have one whole pizza, but it's cut up into parts of 3. So I have 1, 2, 3. That whole thing is colored in. Then I have 2/3. I'm going to color in 2 of the 3. Obviously, this is not exactly drawn to a perfect image, but it is 2/3. So if I look to see how many pieces do I have total, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 pieces that were cut into thirds. Now, when you're multiplying mixed numbers, you're not going to have time to draw out all the pizzas. So what I'm encouraging you to do is do it the mathematical way. If I have 1 and 2, whoops, let me do it down here. If I have 1 and 2/3, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to multiply 3 times 1. So 3 times 1, which equals 3. And then you're going to want to add the 3 plus the 2, which equals 5. And you keep your denominator the same, 5/3, and you can see how I got the same answer. So again, let's look. 3 times 1, that gives me 3, so there's my 3. And I'm going to add these 2, which gives me a total of 5. So let's look at our first problem. Let's say I have 1 and 2/3 times 1 and 1/5. Again, before we can multiply these mixed numbers, we have to change them into fractions. They're improper fractions, but they're still fractions. So I'm going to do 3 times 1, which equals 3. And then I'm going to add the 2, which equals 5/3. So I'm going to write 5/3 down here. Times, I'm just bringing this down. And now I do 5 times 1, which equals 5. And then I'm going to add this 1 right here, which equals 6/5. I'm just going to bring that right down here. So now I'm back to, where I was yesterday or the other day with just fractions. 5/3 times 6/5. So here I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to multiply my numerators. 5 times 6, which gives me 30. And 3 times 5, which is 15. And now I have to see how many times can 30 be divided by 15. Well, 30 can be divided by 15 2 times. 2 times 15 equals 30. And I subtract, I'm left with none, so my final answer is 2, which is just a whole number, but that's okay. We don't have a fraction, but that's okay. Let's try another one. We have 1 and 1/9 times 3/8. Well, the 3/8 is already a fraction, so we just need to change our 1 and 1/9, our mixed number. So here I have 9 times 1, which equals 9. And then now I'm going to add the 1, so I have 9 plus 1, which equals 10/9. So I'm just going to go ahead and rewrite this down here so you guys can see it. It's 10/9. I just rewrote that down there. Rewrite my times, and my 3/8 is already a fraction, so it's going to be 3/8. Now I just multiply my numerators. 10 times 3 is 30, and 9 times 8 is 72. Here I have a fraction, 30 over 72, and it can be simplified. I know they're both even, so I'm just going to divide them by 2 to make the numbers smaller. 30 divided by 2 is 15, and 72 divided by 2 is 36. Looking at these, I still know that I can simplify it. I know 3 goes into 15, I know 3 goes into 36, so I'm going to divide them both by 3. 15 divided by 3 is 5, and 36 divided by 3 is 21. And now I ask myself, is there any other number that can go into that? And the answer is no. So that, my friends, is in simplest form. We're going to try one more. This one's kind of cool. This one is multiplying 3 numbers, or 3 mixed numbers and fractions. So I have 2 1/3 times 3/7 times 1/2. First, I need to make sure all of my numbers are fractions. This one is a mixed number, so I have to change it to an improper fraction. 3 times 2 equals 6, and 6 plus 1 equals 7. So 7/3. I'm just rewriting that down there. Now I'm just going to rewrite the rest of my equation. 7/3 times 3/7 times 1/2. Well, I notice I have almost the same thing as we've been doing, PEMDAS. Oops, sorry. Okay, my PEMDAS. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do 7 times 3 is 21, and 21 times 1 is 21. I just worked left to right because I have both multiplication. Now my denominator, 3 times 7 is 21, 21 times 2 is 42. Now I look at these two numbers and I know that 21 goes into 21 and 21 goes into 42 because I just did it here. So I'm going to divide the numerator by 21, the denominator by 21, and I get 21 divided by 21 is 1, 42 divided by 21 is 2, and that is my final answer is 1/2.